Now, shifting on to the other theme, that is the mental health of incarcerated in India. It's a three-part question. First, I would like to understand that why is it important to give notice or provide justice when it comes to mental health conditions of the incarcerated? What factors contribute to the psychological stress in prisons? And the third thing is that what is the conditions here in India when compared to other countries when it comes to the mental health situation?
Okay. First of all, let us understand that mental health issue is still not in our social priority. We want to hide it. Most of us, we don't know it. If I am suffering from some depression, I don't know it. On one side, it may be our social presence that everybody is around and we see people as normal while he is going through some depression. Because we are a crowded country, we have friends, which is a blessing. But at the same time, sometimes it is also very difficult to, you can say, identify individual mental issues. Society, because there is a cultural taboo attached to it, they do not want to recognize as such. Even if I want to talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I'm feeling very tense, raat ko neend nahi aa rahi, I'll talk to all my friends, my family members, and everybody and ask for all jadi booty from wherever. But the last person is that nobody should know that I have visited a psychologist or psychiatrist, a mental counselor. So this is one of our biggest stumbling block in handling mental health issue per se. And we struggle about it on a daily basis. I have a counselor and now AICT and government insists that we, as a residential facility, and particularly at higher end education, where tough competitions are there and unfortunate cases happens in IITs and IIMs and all those highly competitive exam, campuses. So now we have to employ a full-time counselor. Now we did a study with the physical counselor being a mandatory thing from the government side. So we have a physical counselor, but how many of our students will report to the physical counselor? So we done a study, we give an alternative opportunity. At IIM Kashipur, experimented with something like Your Dost, very popular mental health online support system 24/7. Compared to a physical counselor cost, it is much cheaper per head. But it is more accessible. Students have the facility of calling them and not being, physically face to face identified who is going somewhere. Even to go publicly in a school, in an institute, by mistake also, if somebody goes to the mental counselor or counselor's room, the friends will ask first jokingly, and then it will become a hostel news. So physically also whether they will come, but people are more aware. Many people are coming. And we are trying to say that you seek our help. So that is one. Now you come to our discussion today. With that kind of mental blocks or social, you can say, what I can say, kind of cultural taboo system or kind of inertia to talk about mental health. When you come to people in prison, many of us say, "Aisa to hona hi tha." What we forget that a large number of those people are just under trials. They are not convicts. Even without going into the exact number of under trials today, and this morning I was reading a large number, 30% of them are under trials. Every 30%, and this is a paper published a few years ago. Now, the trial itself is trauma. And if in these cases where the future is unknown, you are just detained and you are in prison for how many months you don't know, when you'll get released, depending on the circumstances and other things. I saw a person personally, I tried to interview them back home in Assam. This poor guy was from Muradabad. He was arrested in front of Guwahati High Court itself by local police. What? By evening, we had headlines. Chief Minister of that time, Prafulla Kumar Mahanto, made an statement in the assembly that ISI agent has been arrested in front of High Court. High Court को उड़ा देने की साजिश थी. Anyway, everybody praised and people said, so job well done, intelligence people. I met that guy 12 years down the line when he was released. He languished in jail for such a long year. Somehow one friend talked to others, and there was a very prominent lawyer in Guwahati High Court, Mr. Nakibul Jaman. He came to know about this case and tried to see why this guy is in jail. Wrong. He's saying that he has nothing to know about ISI, nothing bomb. That day evening, every newspaper next morning, and as I said, the Chief Minister made a statement in assembly, everything online available nowadays. So one judge, so this after 9 or some years or something, this senior judge, a senior lawyer who took the case pro bono, learning from someone else that somebody is just in jail for so many years, even family members were him. So the lady judge asked first thing is that, have you translated that the formula of the bomb which you have found in his possession? It was found that they never even tried to translate it. And you know what? That formula was nothing but मुरादाबाद के जो मशहूर मुरब्बा है उसका बनाने का रेसिपी था वो. किसी ने ट्रांसलेट तक नहीं करने की कोशिश की. So I met that guy in his village home. In the meantime, the whole stigmatization, the ISI agent here, even your family members, relatives, they started doubting. सरकार ने पकड़ा होगा तो कुछ न मिला होगा उसके पॉकेट में. हम लोगों को तो पता नहीं लगा. Even your own near and dear ones, friends used to suspect if it comes like that. If this is the scenario, under trial, mental health process itself is trauma. Number two, major chunk comes from what you can say drug-induced, drug-abused disorders. Now, many of this come from destitution, repeat offenders, petty offenders. They come, almost 1/3 of them, they come with those kind of mental disorders inside. And then the lack of regular checkup, an end of acceptance that if somebody is in prison, तो उसका तो सब खराब होगा ही. You will have to suffer this. कर्म का फल है or something like that. So that is the second. And third one is only because of the kind of, what you can say, making people completely, because of social, cultural taboo, as I said, somebody got arrested for wrong reason or right reason. Somebody just got blemished in headline. Immediately the disconnect which happens from his own circle, the abandonment. And this I'm talking, recalling my, talking to that old man back to his village. And I was passing by, somebody just mentioned this guy got free after 12 years from Guwahati. For what? Well, he went inside for achar ka murabba ka. Oh, that's a famous case. Later on, it made into headlines and how this goof up happened. But all the time he was talking about is about the loss of the social connect, people who are near and dear now. So I think this is where the three parts that the pre-detention or pre-imprisonment cases, mostly drug related, and other cases which happen. Second, which happened due to the undue delay in detention and uncertainty of the future. And third is that the social disconnect. All this combined, the mental health issue and I read a paper very recently in South Asia, Indian subcontinent, even in South Asia, it has become a big issue, not addressed properly, and particularly when your basic medicine and healthcare service is a big challenge, when your prisons are crowded. You can add to that as a kind of subsidiary reason that they are so overcrowded that basic medicine is very difficult, and mental health medicine or mental health care is a luxury for many of us. At least prison budget says that. So this is the you can say the complexity, multidimensional complexity of
Okay.
mental health of detainees.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, my last question to you would be that are there any legal or policy framework that ensures mental health care either nationally or internationally? And in what way can the different stakeholders, such as the judiciary or the prison system, play a role in the mental health concerns? And rather than just saying it as a rehabilitation, how do we reintegrate them into the society?
See, we should put our acts together. If the country is developed or not, if the development paradigm from all those things which we know, human development index, health, education, and blah blah. If we put any index on writing good policies, then we are the most developed countries in the world. कोई document बनाने दे कि how mental health has to be maintained in Indian prison. I can tell you right at this moment, there must be 100 experts in this country who are the best in the world. हार्वर्ड वाला एक हफ्ता लगाएगा, हम एक दिन में 24 घंटे में अच्छा डॉक्यूमेंट बनाते थे. But who will implement? Mental blocks is there. We do not have the courage to put things in a long-term perspective. If I am the minister for finance or minister who looks after prisons and all, where is my policy? मैं तो सिलाई मशीन बांटूंगा ना गांव में. 1.5 लाख लोगों ने मुझे वोट दिया, 50,000 हम सिविंग मशीन बांटेंगे कि हम जाके इम्प्रिजन जेल, कौन मुझे वोट देगा जेल इंप्रूव किया इसलिए. So the whole thing, it is you can say it is a funny frustration of democracy. You find the person in charge of prison, वो prison manual जिंदगी में नहीं पढ़ा है कभी. In such cases, in foreign countries, you find out a person who was, retired as a jail director or retired psychologist, big professor. You bring him in as a junior minister in the Department of Prison. Go to Canada, Australia, you'll find experts sitting as a junior minister. The big one, the home minister, is a politician from the party. But this expert job is done by a small. The last experiment was done, but perhaps somewhere 15 years ago, we saw that a scientist was minister for science and technology. C.V. Ramanna, Professor Ramanna. Another professor was a minister for space. So at one point of time, you see, we don't have budget. We have policies. Policies goes, budget does not come. What the jailer will do? To appoint a good psychologist, run a regular, prison clinic, you need those and numbers are huge. So we need at the earlier part we were thinking about the shortfall of judges in court. Can you imagine? And now if we start talking shortfall of psychological counselor in prisons, where our discussion will lead to. So ultimately, somebody somewhere, good sense will prevail, or some honorable judge of a Supreme Court and a High Court will hammer this reason on their head, and then only the chief secretaries and the Director General of Prisons will move, and perhaps some finance department will be bound to. But again, why judiciary should tell the executive to do what is right? It was their basic duty. If you are having fun in arresting people, then give them. Can you see the shame of this country is that you have to show our prison photograph in British court to tell them, please deport this guy. We will not beat him up. We'll give him healthy facility. Look at our 5-star prison in Bombay. We'll keep him here. We have to assure a British judge that our prison, this is what we have done. And that judge is also in internet domain. He also knows this is the 2 rooms you have painted and showing photograph. And his point is that he cannot release a person to Indian prison because the conditions are not good. They are not treated properly. The numbers, the space, the per head, space allowed, the kind of health, sanitation, many things which are missing. And anytime you talk about, in fact, the politician will talk about prison reform or putting more money for the prisoners. He might not even win the next election. ये तो चोर चक्कों के लिए पैसा मांग रहा था. That is the crude translation of a prison reform demand in a political scene. Now, it can only be done by a judge will come heavily, give a strict order, and then it will happen. And the politician will also have the protection. मैं तो नहीं करना चाहता था, लेकिन क्या करें, जज लोगों ने बोला है इसीलिए हम पैसा डाल रहे हैं और रिफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. खुद से तो नहीं करेंगे, बहुत मुश्किल है करना. ये सोसाइटल मेंटल ब्लॉक है, बट द पॉलिटिशियन कम्स फ्रॉम आवर ओन सोसाइटी. वी हैव ए मेंटल ब्लॉक. फैमिली में अगर कोई बंदा अगर मेंटल कोई परेशानी में अच्छा खासा है तो उसको शुरू में उसको तंग ही करेंगे, उसको हेल्प नहीं करेंगे. या तो वो कहेंगे कि नहीं आजकल चुपचाप रहता है. बाबा रामदेव का वो जब से देखा है वीडियो तब से एकदम मतलब योग गुरु होने के चक्कर में, अरे भाई वो कोई अचानक नहीं बना है, धार्मिक नहीं बना है. ही इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम मेंटल हेल्थ. टेक इट टू काउंसलर. ये अभी और डिप्रेशन बनता जाएगा. Many cases, unfortunately, even in hostels, friends do not recognize that. तो बाद में जब कोई कुछ चीज अनफॉर्चुनेटली हो जाता है, देन दे रिकॉल द स्टोरी. हाँ ऐसा कर रहा था, पिछले 6 महीने से ये क्लास के पीछे के बेंच में बैठता था, बात नहीं करता था. जो पहले हफ्ते में नहीं करता था, जो लड़का फर्स्ट वीक में इतना अच्छा आया था, सेकंड वीक में क्यों डिप इतना कम हुआ. अच्छे नहीं, इधर लोग उसको जस्टिफाई करने की कहानी बना देंगे. किसी ने मना कर दिया, ब्रेकअप हो गया इसलिए चुपचाप रहता है. कोई ब्रेकअप नहीं हुआ है, उसका मेंटल स्ट्रेस बन गया है उसका. So society as a whole has to move. Prison cannot be far from the society how we behave.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I'll just open the floor for the next 5 minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, so actually, sir already did cover one of the things that I did want to ask is that basically, I mean, do you believe that India is moving towards a more retributive form of justice in terms of how society looks at it, which hamstrings the judiciary itself in trying to reduce the burden, like reduce the prison sentences or to give bails, early paroles?
In a way, the historical case, for example, somebody is again from Assam, very historical judgment, that people were detained, suspected Bangladeshi, suspected foreigner, number one. Now, if you suspect somebody, check his paper. If he's in Indian, keep in India. If he's in from Bangladesh or Nigeria or Switzerland, send him to his own country. It's as simple as that. But for doing this, some simple check verification. I cannot keep, if somebody has to give exam in my institute, he has to show a hall ticket. If I suspect him that he is not a student, genuine student, how much time I can take? Can I keep him sitting for 1 week to test that whether he's a student or not? It is a matter of checking papers in time, maybe 1 week. But for years they were incertain. So one day the Supreme Court came heavily on that, and I said, if you have imprisoned somebody for more than 3 years and still you cannot determine he is Indian or not, give him bail. He should be free. Now, this is nowadays we are looking at that 3 years before proving Indian, and many of them have come out proving themselves Indian. But that one, and there are books now published with stories, hundreds of stories, that in imprisoning someone saying that he's a suspected Bangladeshi itself is the process. Because that becomes a number. इस महीने में हमने 2,500 सस्पेक्टेड बांग्लादेशी पकड़ा है. That is a number. But 2,500 families goes through the trauma. Ultimately, look at the percentage, minuscule of them proven to be of any foreign country, and that too of Bangladesh. Very funny. Very recently, last month, I think, or around, people were picked up, suspected Bangladeshi, and dropped in no man's land on the Bangladesh border. And some of them were school teachers. High Court came heavily on them. After 3 days, they brought them back from the border. Now, this is what our administration is doing sometimes. So, as you were saying, retribution or judiciary, I can feel the heavy burden on the judiciary. If they try to do the good thing, people will see them, they are interfering into another area of executive domain. And then some of our top political personalities start becoming angry against the judges. But at the same time, as an ordinary citizen, where do we go? So in this challenging time we are living, and fortunately, some of our judges are guarding that space so well.
Thank you so much, sir. Amir, sir, I think you had a question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Islam. That was really, so made it look so clear and so simple, and gave us the right perspective on why delays happen, how that could be sorted, particularly the technology angle. Uh, the question that I wanted to put here was, how much does this delay cost us? Particularly in terms of getting business or getting investment into India. Over the last few years, we have been seeing that the FDI that is coming in has been going down, and there is an argument that net FDI are actually negative. In a country like India, with a vast consumer base, with such a big demand gap, one would have expected that foreign investment just flows in, and everything else, we've reduced taxes, we want people to come in, we are giving them quick approvals, we have allowed for 100% FDI in every sector, but we still don't find foreign investment coming in. How much of that has to do with the legal environment?
It is a very complex, multi-layered issue, and every point, if you give me just as a simplistic answer to this is nothing but colonial legacy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
मैं कमिश्नर ऑफ इनकम टैक्स हूं, तो किसी को अगर मैंने तकलीफ नहीं पहुंचा पाया तो मैं कौन सा कमिश्नर?
Yes.
Every student comes into my room and asks, sir, give me this concession, I'll pay my fees after 15 days. He should come and back. Why?
Yeah.
My system should automatically take care of this. Considering out of 700 students, 70 of them will not pay, for example. What is the cost? Out of 70 will not pay, or not even 77 will not pay. For some reasons, their parents died or something happened. If we consider that 10-1, what is the intention? If I have to get that payment, now everything is resolved. Nowadays, you don't have to find an invention and resolve. How much will be the premium of 10 students if you can to say 1 crore rupees insurance I need? मैं मानता हूं 10 स्टूडेंट हमारा बगैर पैसा देके पढ़ेगा, पैसा जमा नहीं करेगा, भाग जाएगा या तो कर नहीं पाएगा. If we have to think like that, I need to buy an insurance of 1 crore. What is the incremental cost of that premium? Then that will take care of it. But if I do like this, who will know that I have the power? I sign, approve, allowed to pay fees after 3 months. From small examples from my own courtyard to all things, everybody, this is the British colonial legacy. We have removed the British colonialism, but we fail to understand that this country, equity and justice should be the bottom line of every decision we take at whatever level, whether it is a district magistrate or a vice chancellor or a department head. Everybody must take this. So that is one. And the other thing is very interesting, as you say, the foreign investment. Nowadays, it is more scary because you do some injustice somewhere in the corner of Bombay or in corner of Assam, it gets reflected everywhere in the world. Unknowingly, hate crime, if you type, you are going to hit the top of the country. Somebody sitting in Australia wants to invest in business. First thing, if we want to go somewhere, where do we go? We go to TripAdvisor to know the hotel is good or not. We look at mouthshartreview.com. Nowadays, the whole world is a review platform. And that is something which is really worrying. If litigation, fortunately, alternative dispute resolution in business law area, the judges, courts, and our laws are being amended like that, that more and more people settle their dispute, at least in business related dispute, outside the court. But again, because our alternative disputes, particularly arbitration cases, they are looked after by again the old people of that old mentality of giving 5 hearing before coming to a kind of arbitration, or conclusion. So again, we are looking at it not fully, but some seepage of that delay is also seeping into the arbitration or ADR process itself. But I'm very sure, because this is an industry, you don't lose time in cases, you lose money, brand name, everything. It is too much of a damage to your brand. So I think ADR in coming days will help us to improve this image. Otherwise, the legal delay, the process delay, the lacuna of formalities. You can set up a company in Singapore in one day. Come to my beautiful state of Assam, where every year we spend crores of rupees in invest in Assam. You try to get one small license from somewhere,
Yeah.
and that too, if no, you are from Hyderabad,
Yeah.
Telangana, outside the state, you will have so much difficulties. So I think uh, those small process delays, legal lacunas, we can show when we think of, as an India, that if I delay it in Assam, my Indian image will get hit. Everybody has to join to the as a country, make it equally beautiful for everybody, useful and ease of doing business, the kind of things we talk about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think we'll be ending today's episode. Once again, thank you for adding to the discourse of understanding the legal landscape of India. Yeah, I think from here on, we understand a little bit more about what goes on inside the court in terms of capacity, but also what is happening. In the court, also leading to the mental health issues in the prisons as well, and how India should maintain an image when it comes to foreign direct investments, especially when it comes to the legal things that we are doing here. Thank you so much, sir.